Hello guys, C1099 here and welcome to today's video, and today we're going to go through the preview and predictions for the 2026 World Club Challenge between Hull Kingston Rovers and the
Brisbane Broncos.
I do understand this video is quite late, as essentially we're about like 13-12 hours away from the start of this matchup when this video does get uploaded. So what we're going to be going through for this episode is essentially just giving a quick overview of both teams and how they've got into this position. Then we'll go through the lineups, possible players who we should look out for to see who's going to be a very important factor in this match, and I give my predictions on who I think will win. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So both teams have now gotten their lineups out and we can go through it as such. So starting off with the Hull Kingston Rovers lineup as the home team. You've got Arthur Morg at fullback with Tom Davies and Joe Burgess on the wings, with Peter Hickey and Oliver Gildart as centres. Mikey Lewis and Tyrone May as the playmakers. There's some things to talk about with Mikey Lewis, which is interesting of why he's still in the team. Going into the forward, you've got Tawaso Su and Tomamone as props, with Jez Litton as the hooker, Dean Hadley and James Batchelor in the second row, with Elliot Minchella in at lock. Bench consists of Sam Blakely, Jai Whitbread, Reece Martin and Carl Lawton, with the reserves currently slated as Jack Broadbent, Jack Brown and Bill Leyland, as well as a fourth in Tom Whitehead. Now going in for the Brisbane Broncos, you have Reece Walsh at fullback with Josiah Karapani and Dean Mariner on the wings, with Katoni Staggs and Geramat Shibasaki in the centres. Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds are the playmakers. Corey Jensen and Payne Haas are the starting props, with Ben Hunt as hooker. Jack Oshewski and Jordan Rickey as the second row, with Patrick Carrigan at lock. Interchange currently consists of Corey Pites, Ben Talty, Xavier Willison and Orblix Tawa, with the reserves being Jaden Hunt, Grant Anderson and Blake Moser. Now I just want to, in terms of a bit of a highlight in this one, is the talking about of the 5'8" for Hull Kingston Rovers, Mikey Lewis, and about why it's interesting he's playing this game. So for those who don't know what happened, in the opening weekend of the Super League season, Hull Kingston Rovers played against the York Knights, and at a point in the match with about 12-13 minutes to go, Mikey Lewis decides to do an unfortunate brain snap, if you will, where as the York playmaker kicks it on the last tackle, Lewis comes in and just sticks the leg out and trips him up on purpose, which the referee sees and sin bins him for. This being very crucial in this game, as the momentum completely swung the way of York as they would go on to win 19-18. Now there was going to be a lot of questions on whether or not Mikey Lewis was going to be available to play in the World Club Challenge, but he has been cleared and he will not face a suspension, which is kind of mental to say the least. I mean, like, you don't get more purposeful than that. But yeah, so very lucky to be playing in this matchup. Also, a bit of an interesting tidbit is this game, though it is in Hull, it is not at Hull Kingston Rovers Stadium. It is being played at the MKM Stadium, which is the home of Hull City in football, but is also the home of Hull FC in Rugby League. So Hull Kingston Rovers are playing this game at their rival stadium. So that's a bit of a pretty interesting thing if they do go on to win this in terms of bragging. But yeah, going into the rough story with both teams, Hull Kingston Rovers essentially won everything there was to win in England last season. They won the Challenge Cup, they were minor premiers, and they also would go on to win the grand final, completing the treble, as they say in English Rugby League. Whilst the Brisbane Broncos, very much sort of in the top four of things, but then just had a fantastic run in the finals. They beat Canberra in Golden Point. They would then beat a resurgent Penrith Panthers team in the prelim final after coming back from being down. And then in the grand final against the Melbourne Storm, once again coming from behind to take the win. So pretty much Brisbane have been pretty good at coming back from deficits. Now in terms of key players that I think is going to be interesting to see for this match, I mean, if you're pointing it out for the Brisbane Broncos, I mean, Reece Walsh, I mean, he very much, I don't think there's been ever much a more deserving player to win the Clive Churchill medal in that grand final. But yeah, after the whole toilet bowl incident, Reece Walsh just quickly became the best player in the NRL. But yeah, I think for key players for Hull Kingston Rovers, I mean, the playmakers are going to be very important. Mikey Lewis and Tyrone May going up against Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds, which is going to be quite an interesting one to see how that battle takes out, because there's going to be very much field wisdom. Yeah, now we're going to be going into how do I think this plays out and who do I think wins the World Club Challenge. Now, like most of these matches, these do end up being quite close, usually when it comes to the English side winning, and for the Aussies, when an Aussie team wins, it's mostly a little bit blown out. Not a complete smashing, but it's just how it kind of is. I do think this match could be quite close, as Hull KR, they've played like more matches so far this season. Like Brisbane have played a couple of trial matches, but it hasn't really been like their first team that have played them. So most of the players on the Broncos, like, you know, Reece Walsh, your Payne Haas, your Adam Reynolds, haven't really played yet this season, whilst Hull Kingston Rovers have played their first match in the Challenge Cup. They've played their first match in the Super League season. They've probably had a couple of pre-season matches as well. So, in turn, this could be the great equaliser, if you will. But as much as I want to say that I think Hull Kingston Rovers will win this, I just think the Brisbane team might just be too strong. I think the Broncos will win this, and it'll be the first time since 2020 that the World Club Challenge title returns to Australia. If I had to go for a score, I reckon it could be something like 26-14. I think it's a pretty respectable score to the Broncos. But yeah, so yeah, that's the end of this video. Who do you guys have winning the World Club Challenge? Let me know in the comments below. We will be streaming this live. It will start about half an hour before the game kicks off, so you can join us there to see it happen in real time. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this again, and I'll see you all later.